Antonio starts right now.
Making headlines this morning, British socialite Galen Maxwell is convicted of helping lure teenage girls to be abused by the late Jeffrey Epstein.
Outside with live cam, more mild temperatures, but a huge absence of the fog and mist that we saw yesterday morning. Good morning, everybody. If you're having trouble keeping track of the schedule this week, we are still on track together. It is Thursday. Today would be December 30th on your magical calendar.
It's a magical week because you really don't know what day it is.
No, I had people post all over Facebook yesterday. Yeah, we're right there with you. We don't know what day it is, but here's some good news this morning. Mike Osterhage is back from the Christmas holiday. Good morning and welcome back, sir.
Yeah, I have no idea what day it is either. So.
I like the tie. Would that be the Tennessee logo there?
It's UT, yes. It was a Christmas gift from my son, so UTK, I should say, obviously, so UT Knoxville. But
the other UT.
The other UT.
Have you adjusted yet being back? You told me this one, you're like, it was so hard.
I'll let you know once the finally soaks in that the alarm went off at 2 o'clock this morning. So I spoke a little soon about the fog, though, because we do have some around the area.
Okay.
Yeah, not here in this picture, but first of all, temperatures it's comfortable out there, still way above normal by a good, 15 or so degrees. And even though the air dried out yesterday afternoon, you can kind of feel that dew point drop down throughout the afternoon. We've got dew points down in the 40s. Not bad, 57 Stinson and Randolph, but then these numbers are running neck and neck to the air temperatures, and we are seeing some fog. Randolph, Pleasanton, a little bit of fog, and then a lot more off to the east. Beeville, Gonzales, LaGrange, we're going to have to watch it as this tries to spread a little bit to the west this morning. We do have a dense fog advisory for some of our southeastern counties. Karnes County, Live Oak County in particular, and that's in effect through the rest of this morning. So just be on the lookout for some of that, maybe a little mist. Now, we are going to be very warm again today, and also, even though the humidity is pleasant right now, it is going to come back throughout the day. So it's going to be very warm, very humid, up to 80 again today. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow. And we'll start to see some changes New Year's Day, still very hot, and then a doozy of a cold front's coming on through here. Details on that coming up in just a couple of minutes. Sarah, Mark?
Thank you, Mike. New this morning, a silver alert in effect for a local man. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office searching for this man, 81 John Lamb. He's been diagnosed with a cognitive impairment. He was last seen around 5 o'clock last night in far northwest Bexar County on Highland Star, not too far from Culebra Road. He's about 6 feet tall, weighs about 200 pounds, has gray hair, brown eyes, last seen wearing a white short sleeve button-up shirt. According to BCSO, he was last seen in a green 2008 Mercury Mariner with Texas license plate FTS 9859. If you have any information on where he may be, you're asked to call the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. The number is 210-335-6000.
It's day 11 of looking for Lena Kill, and authorities say they still have no leads as to where she might be. However, local organizations and businesses are stepping up to do what they can. Local advertising company, The Creative Mango, is using its resources to make and donate 100 missing person banners free of charge to anyone who is willing to put it up on their place of business or home. Our crew spoke to one restaurant owner who has already put a banner up since Monday.
One of my customers came and he said, I got this for the little girl. I'm like, don't even think about it. Don't even ask me. Just put it on. I mean, whatever we can do. Babies I don't know, babies is everything.
SAPD investigators are still treating this as a missing persons case, but because they have no evidence Lena was taken, Lena was last seen Monday, December 20th.
Well, now to the aftermath of Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction on sex trafficking charges.
Right now, she's in jail waiting on what could be a decades-long sentence. Here's ABC's Mona Kozar-Abdi.
This morning, prosecutors are calling it a, quote, great day for justice, after a jury found Galen Maxwell guilty on 5 of 6 federal charges, including the sex trafficking of minors. The 6-year-old Maxwell showed no reaction when the verdict was read before 2 U.S. Marshals walked her out of the courtroom. She now faces up to 65 years behind bars.
A unanimous jury has found Galen Maxwell guilty of one of the worst crimes imaginable, facilitating and participating in the sexual abuse of children. Crimes that she committed with her longtime partner and co-conspirator, Jeffrey Epstein.
It's a stunning fall from grace for the British socialite who once rubbed elbows with world leaders and royalty. The longtime companion of disgraced financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was described by prosecutors as his partner in crime. The government accusing her of being a serial predator who helped Epstein sexually abuse underage girls, arguing she lured young girls to Epstein's homes and invited them to give him explicit massages, managing the details right down to the lotion and oils. At the heart of the prosecution's case, 4 accusers who say they were recruited and groomed by Maxwell when they were teenagers. One accuser, only known by her first name Carolyn, saying in a statement, quote, "Satisfaction with Maxwell's conviction is tempered by the knowledge that the other co-conspirators have yet to be held responsible for their involvement in Jeffrey Epstein's extraordinary criminal enterprise." Maxwell's defense claiming she was being used as a scapegoat for Epstein and attempted to discredit her accusers, questioning their memories and claiming they were motivated by money. Maxwell's family, who were in the courtroom when the verdict was read, releasing a statement overnight saying, quote, "We believe firmly in our sister's innocence." Monaco Sarabdi, ABC News, New York.
Today, President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin are set to discuss the Russian troop buildup at the Ukraine border. This call this afternoon would be their second in recent weeks. The White House says that Biden will make clear to Putin that a diplomatic path remains open. The Russians have moved an estimated 100,000 troops toward Ukraine, and Putin has stepped up his demands for security guarantees in Eastern Europe. The call, requested by Russian officials, comes as senior U.S. and Russian officials are to hold talks on January 10th in Geneva.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has authorized 2 new over-the-counter at-home COVID-19 tests. It's part of the Biden administration's commitment to increase access to COVID-19 testing. The tests are the first to gain FDA authorization through the program. Last week, President Biden announced new actions to ensure Americans have access to free testing, including convenient at-home tests. Biden committed to buy 500 million at-home tests, which will be provided to Americans for free starting in January.
Stocks set new records on Wall Street Wednesday, with both the Dow and S&P 500 finishing at all-time highs. For the Dow, it was the first record in nearly 2 months. It gained 90 points to finish at 36,488. The gains were broad-based, but travel-related stocks, including American Airlines and United, didn't do so well. That, of course, comes amid sweeping cancellations and worries about the Omicron variant. The S&P 500 also finished higher, but the Nasdaq lost 15 points. 437, about 58 degrees.
Still ahead, we'll have a recap of last night's Alamo Bowl, plus what's next for the Spurs following last night's postponed game.
Outside with live cam, I spoke too soon. We were seeing widespread fog and mist yesterday all around San Antonio. Not seeing it here by the airport. Mike says there is some out there right now. We'll check in with him now that he's back from Christmas break after this. It was a late night for the Valero Alamo Bowl last night here in San Antonio. Oklahoma taking on Oregon. Sooner running back Kennedy Brooks ran for 142 yards and 3 touchdowns to help number 14 Oklahoma ride a dominant first half to a 47-32 victory over the Ducks. Oregon scored 3 touchdowns in the third quarter, 2 coming on long throws by quarterback Anthony Brown to get it the score 44-25 by the start of the fourth, but they could not get stops on defense, needed to close the gap. Caleb Williams also threw 3 touchdown passes for the Sooners, who gave interim coach Bob Stoops career win number 191 and a special family moment when he could hug his son Drake, an Oklahoma wide receiver, after a first half touchdown. Stoops came out of retirement for the game after Coach Lincoln Riley's sudden departure to Southern California at the end of the season. Stoops' former assistant Brent Venables, who has spent 9 seasons as Clemson assistant, will take over the Oklahoma program in 2022. Well, the NBA postponed the Heat-Spurs game last night at the AT&T Center. That's because COVID concerns and injuries left Miami without the league minimum 8 players to suit up. This becomes the 10th NBA game postponed this season. Spurs say tickets and parking passes for last night's game will be valid for the rescheduled game, which will be announced at a later date.
You're trying to keep everybody healthy, keep everybody safe. You're trying to manage the unpredictable every single day. If anything, I think we're just that part of it has been normalized. The unpredictability of every single day. You just have to accept that that's what it's going to be like, for a while. And the whole league is adjusting to it.
Spurs will play the Grizzlies tomorrow night, start of a 7-game road trip.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
Dak Prescott named NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He passed for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns in the boys' 56-14 blowout win over Washington last Sunday night. Meanwhile, Cowboys rookie linebacker Micah Parsons, a.k.a. the Lion, gave cornerback Trevon Diggs a nickname. Diggs led the NFL with 11 interceptions.
Trey came over and I said, and he's mentioning things. I was like, nah, Trey, you an eagle, bro. You in the league of your own. And he's like, eagle? I was like, yeah, eagles only fly with other eagles. No other bird could reach their altitude. And, so Trey's the eagle and I'm the lion. So he owns the air and I own the ground, and that's all we got to do.
Okay, that settles that. Winners of 2 straight for the first time this season. The Texans will play the 49ers next. Rookie quarterback Davis Mills says the atmosphere of the team is much better these days.
Obviously, winning's a lot better than losing. So I guess there's just a morale in the locker room that everyone's excited to keep this win streak alive, keep going and attacking each week with that relentless attitude.
Game between the Texans and Niners kicks off Sunday at 3 p.m.
It's 4:43 and 58 degrees. Up next, why some airlines are asking passengers to reconsider their vacations and other travel plans. With no end in sight for flight cancellations, airlines are now asking passengers for help. ABC's Alex Pettis reports in this morning's GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, another tough travel day at airports as an Omicron-fueled wave forces hundreds of flight cancellations and delays.
We are seeing a lot of people who are out sick, but also people whose anxiety is rising again.
Just yesterday, over 1,000 flights were canceled nationwide. According to TSA estimates, more than 12.5 million flyers are still expected to travel between now and January 3rd.
We try to get here as early as we can about the delays, but they're here and we're waiting.
Alaska Airlines urging passengers to reconsider non-essential travel before January 2nd after experiencing extremely high call volume. And coming up at 7 a.m., Dr. Darian Sutton joins us live with tips on how you can stay safe if you have to travel. With your GMA First Look, I'm Alex Perez, ABC News, Chicago.
Our meteorologists have been telling you about the high amount of mountain cedar in the air this week.
So a lot of people are asking, do I have allergies or is it COVID? Our Jesse Degollado got answers from an expert.
Mountain cedar in the air means misery for many. And for allergists like Dr. Erica Gonzalez,
we're pretty busy. It's hard to keep up.
And now with Omicron out there, Gonzalez says her office also is testing patients. Like many at the drive-up sites around town, they're worried their allergies are really COVID-19.
Question is, did most of the patients Dr. Gonzalez has seen so far have reason to worry or not?
Well, thankfully, the majority of them are allergies.
Their symptoms, she says, were due to pollen, not the virus. Gonzalez says reassuring symptoms it's allergies include having a history of cedar fever or allergies, itchy eyes and throat not usually seen with viruses, and the antihistamines or nasal sprays are working.
That can reassure them that, this is still just allergies. It's not anything else.
And what about running a temperature?
So allergies will not have your temperature rise more than 100.4.
Any higher than that, Gonzalez advises getting checked out. She says the same goes for knowing 100% whether it's allergies or COVID.
When in doubt, go get tested.
It's better, she says, to be overly cautious. Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
10 till 5, and Mike is back. Good to see you, Mike. How was your holiday break overall?
Yeah, it was, too short. Everybody wants it to last forever, but very nice. So, talking about mountain cedar. And obviously the numbers are sky high. And then we've got a big front coming through during the day on Saturday.
So it could be worse next week.
Yeah, it's going to be windy, and we'll have kind of a 1-2 punch with drier air and cooler air. So it's
mentally prepare.
Yeah, sort of jumping ahead. But yesterday's reading, Mountain Cedar very high, 15,000 basically. Mold is on the moderate side. Of course, that updated count is going to be coming out in a few hours, just after 7 o'clock this morning. So not bad in this picture, but we do have some fog. A little bit around Randolph, a little bit around Stinson, more Pleasanton, and then further off to the east, a lot of thick fog, Beeville, Corpus Christi, as well as Gonzales. We're going to have to watch it as this tries to creep its way to the west. We do have a dense fog advisory for our extreme southeastern counties up until 10 o'clock this morning, so it's definitely going to be some stubborn fog. There's also a couple of sprinkles that are being picked up on radar. Now, the air is pretty dry out in the hill country, so a lot of this is probably evaporating before it reaches the ground, but don't be surprised if there are a couple little sprinkly showers that you see on the windshield. Just one or two of them, kind of a gee whiz at best, and that's all this is going to be. All right, as far as the humidity, of course, we had some dry air move in here late yesterday afternoon. It was very humid starting off, and then it got kind of comfortable by later on in the afternoon. That's going to change, though, and is already in the process of changing. Dew point temperatures, measure moisture in the atmosphere, are going to be getting up. You get above 60, you feel it. So we're going to be mid-60s later on today, and 80 degrees on top of that. So yes, it's going to be very warm, very humid. We are going to be doing the same thing tomorrow morning as far as some fog, a little bit of mist around the area. Humidity stays up throughout the day. Tomorrow, it's going to be very warm and humid throughout all New Year's Eve celebrations, and even into early Saturday morning, it's going to remain very, very humid. But that's going to be changing with that front moving through here. So we're going to see the humidity drop off first of all. Notice how we get these dew points down in the teens, and that's very not rare. I guess I would say rare. It's a very unusual circumstance to get air that dry. We've had it about, I think, one time so far this year, and bone dry air is coming in here, and that's also going to be allowing temperatures and help coming along with and allowing temperatures to get really, really cold. So we'll be much, much colder on Sunday throughout the day, starting off in the 30s, and then we're going to be getting up into the only low 50s on Sunday, and it looks like we got first freeze in store for here in town. First of all, this afternoon, 80 high temperature, partly cloudy skies. It is definitely going to be on the windy side. Then tomorrow, we'll start off with some fog again, and then get up to 80, very warm and humid, a lot of clouds, humid throughout your celebrations. Tomorrow night, early Saturday morning, some fog to start off. Then the air dries out. Now, it's going to be very windy, and it's going to be one of those situations where air dries out. It's really going to heat up, so we get in the low 80s on Saturday. Then the actual cold front comes through here, down to 35 Sunday morning. Looking at 29 here in town Monday morning. So back to school is going to be kind of a rude awakening, staying somewhat on the cool side the first portion of next week.
Well, there's quite a dip in that forecast, but I'm also seeing people talk about on social media how this winter is already just absolutely weird compared to last year.
It is weird. Is it like going to happen, or is it just going to be a mild one?
Well,
a late start?
You know, starting off a couple of months ago, and out in the Pacific Ocean, the La Nina, which usually means a warmer and drier winter for us. So that's been kind of living up to it. Obviously, then you get the cold snaps coming through, but overall, so that's the way it's been so far this December, too.
Well, compared to what we had back in February, a lot of folks are not complaining.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Somebody once again asked me, we're going to get snow this February? I'll bet no. So
I hate it when he imitates me like that. I didn't say it like that. I kind of did. 4:53, about 58 degrees.
He said it.
All right, up next, how COVID is causing big problems for this year's Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve celebration.
COVID continues to cause big problems in Hollywood for actors and their shows.
For the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Jason Nathanson.
LL Cool J will be staying in bed this New Year's Eve. He was scheduled to perform live in Times Square on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest tomorrow night on ABC, but he's pulling out, revealing he tested positive for COVID-19. The singer Chloe also canceling, but the show will go on with Ryan Seacrest and Liza Koshy hosting live, Journey and Latin star Karol G performing live in Times Square, and performances in Los Angeles, Puerto Rico, and New Orleans. The Palm Springs International Film Festival now canceled. The January event won't take place because of the current COVID surge. And the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show has been postponed. It was scheduled to start January 24th in New York City. No new date announced. We're just hours away from the new season of Queer Eye, Season 6, filmed in Texas. And the show's food expert, Anthony Porofsky, tells me it was a particularly tough season to make.
Obviously, everyone was affected by the pandemic, particularly small businesses, which there's definitely some love to small businesses in the new season. Also, Texas went through some really crazy storms just 2 weeks before we arrived the second time. So that, it definitely affected some of the stories as well.
Season 6 of Queer Eye drops tomorrow on Netflix. And Grammy and Oscar nominee Andra Day with a birthday today. She's 37, while actress Tracy Ullman is 62. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Less than 3 minutes till 5, about 58 degrees.
Still ahead on GMSA as more COVID-19 cases rise across the U.S., what doctors are saying about the CDC's new guidelines.
If your kids were a little more visible around the house, it was a little yesterday. It was probably because Fortnite wasn't working. We'll tell you why coming up in your morning Tech Bites.
No, Stephen Cavazos just walked in with a sharp suit this morning. He's going to be giving us updates on the roads when we come back.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
San Antonio police in search of a suspect involved in a shooting that's left one man dead. What we know so far coming up next.
I'm ABC's M. Wynn in Washington. The new COVID-19 wave shatters record highs as the FDA authorizes a new at-home COVID test. This and the latest on Omicron coming up.
Outside with Live Kia, we can actually see the moon this morning. The fog and mist not quite as prevalent as it was yesterday. And Mike Osterhage is back from Christmas break. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, December 30th.
Thank you so much for starting your morning with this beautiful shot out there at the moon. I don't know, this morning I've just been, like the last 4 days, I've been accustomed to okay, leave early. It's going to be foggy. And then I was like, oh, this is actually nice for a change.
The only thing missing right now, Mike, is the crispness of a winter morning out there.
Wait till Sunday morning.
Okay.
Yes,
hey.
Then it's going to get crisp again. Now, as far as fog, even though there's nothing here in town, some folks are seeing some fairly thick fog already this morning. We do have a dense fog advisory. We're going to show you that in a second. 60, normal low temperature is low 40s. By the way, we are in what is historically the coldest period of the year. Go figure with that. But that is going to be changing, like I said. We have lots of clouds out there, which is helping us out as far as fog here in town. And we're going to be well up into the upper 70s, and then by mid-afternoon, and then later on this afternoon, we're going to be up to 80 for a high temperature. The record today is 83. I don't think it's going to be a close call, obviously. Yesterday, of course, we set a record of 85 degrees. The aquifer did drop down. Yesterday's reading 0.4 of a foot, and of course, Mountain Cedar is just sky high. It'll be interesting because we've got a big, strong front moving through here on Saturday, and it'll be very interesting to see what that number does, Mountain Cedar, by later on in the weekend. We have a little bit of some rain that's showing up on radar, and I say showing up because the air is pretty dry out there in parts of the hill country, so this may not actually be reaching the ground. There could be a couple little sprinkles out there, but a lot of this is more than likely evaporating before it ever reaches the ground. But don't be surprised if there is just a little bit of a couple of sprinkles out there. Also, some fog now in the metropolitan area. Randolph at 6 miles visibility. Now 2.5. It's dropped down a little bit around Pleasanton. Then you go further off to the east. That's where the thickest fog is. Down to 0 right now, Victoria and Beeville. 2 miles visibility in Gonzales. And there's a dense fog advisory for the southeastern counties up until 10 o'clock this morning. So it may try and kind of work its way a little bit further to the west as the morning rolls on. So we'll just have to watch that, even going in through the sunrise and right after that. So today, partly cloudy, warm and humid. We got a break in the humidity yesterday afternoon. It's coming back today, so it's going to be very warm this afternoon. Fog tomorrow morning. We'll do it all over again. Mist, warm and humid. It's going to be a very sultry New Year's Eve, and to start off New Year's Day, very humid, probably some fog and mist. And then we're going to be drying out throughout the day. It's going to be windy and it's going to be hot. We'll make it up into the low 80s to start off 2022. Then that front moves on through here, much colder Sunday, and we're looking at our first freeze here in town by Monday morning. Yeah, one extreme to the other. Go figure. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Steve Cavazos. Good morning, sir. How's it going?
Hey, good to see you, Mike. Well, it may not feel like a Christmas morning these last few mornings. It's been pretty quiet, but it's definitely felt like a holiday on the roads. Let's take a closer look at TransGuide. See how this morning is shaping up. US 90 at 35. Some empty corridors there. A few drivers getting their morning started early with us. So it's a great, if you're going to be heading out the door, maybe you have to work today or maybe grab that cup of coffee. You're not going to encounter any big problems. As you can see right now. A lot of empty shops. There's 35 at Martin. Just again, a few folks out there this early in the morning. Hopefully they're going to go grab that cup of coffee. But let's go ahead and take you to the map because it is showing a pretty quiet start. Now, earlier we showed you a lot of TransGuide shots yesterday in the last few days where a lot of fog was plaguing those shots. And as we take a look at our road weather map, it's pretty quiet right now. And as you can see, 1604, 410, all the corridors are wide open. But of course, take it easy out there. You're going to want to make sure that you get to where you need to be on time, but more importantly, safely. And if your destination happens to be the downtown San Antonio area a little bit later this morning, well, we have these inbound times for you right now. I-10 eastbound from Bernie to downtown is 25 minutes at this hour. We're also looking at 27 minutes from 281 southbound from Bulverde. And if you're coming in from New Braunfels on 35 southbound, just 26 minutes at this hour. So I would say this Thursday morning is off to a good start. We'll keep a close eye on these roads and give you all the updates as you need to know. Guys.
Thank you, Stephen. New this morning, the San Antonio Police Department investigating a shooting taking place overnight near Hemisphere Park downtown.
Our Jonathan Cotto joins us live this morning. So, Jonathan, this happened just a couple of hours ago. So what's the latest?
Good morning, Mark and Sarah. Well, we have learned one person has been shot and killed. Information is limited right now, but we know the police are in search of the suspect involved. We know San Antonio police responded to the scene near Market Street and south of Alamo. That's near I-37 in downtown around midnight. Now, police say the victim, an elderly man, was shot in the upper body. It's still unclear what led up to the shooting, but we know the gunman took off towards the Riverwalk. Now, police have been busy collecting evidence and combing through the area in search of that suspect. That's left one man dead. We know EMS and San Antonio Fire Department were on scene. Now, again, the person involved in this shooting took off. The search and investigation is ongoing. Reporting live from Public Safety Headquarters, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Jonathan. Also new this morning, a fire broke out at a northeast side restaurant overnight. Firefighters say it happened around 11 p.m. in the 9200 block of Warsbach near Loop 1604 at the Jerusalem Grill. Fire crews arrived to find heavy smoke coming from the back of the restaurant and flames shooting through the roof. Investigators say it started in an AC unit and then spread to the attic. No reports of any injuries.
A new wave of COVID-19 infections continues to rise. New daily cases have more than doubled over the last 2 weeks.
ABC's M. Nguyen has the latest from Washington, plus what the FDA has just authorized.
This morning, a tsunami of new COVID-19 cases. In the last week alone, the U.S. seeing nearly 1.9 million new cases, meaning around 3 people test positive for the virus every second across the country. The U.S. averaging 277,000 new cases a day, more than at any other point during the pandemic. The White House reporting a 126% increase in cases over the last 2 weeks. New York State seeing another record-breaking day with more than 67,000 new COVID cases. Health experts predict daily cases across the country will climb even higher, Dr. Jha telling CNN.
No doubt we'll at least hit half a million. We might hit 1 million a day.
And now, more than 84,000 Americans, including Edgar in Maryland, are in the hospital with COVID.
When I breathe, it hurts. When I cough, it hurts.
The silver lining, hospitalizations remain lower than previous surges, though the rate of admission for children has risen, mostly due to kids not being vaccinated.
With the sheer number of infections, we are going to see, unfortunately, pressure on our hospital systems.
COVID testing lines wrap around blocks for hours in some parts of the country as the shortage of tests persists.
I've been waiting here for about 2 hours now.
This as the CDC and Dr. Anthony Fauci defend the agency's decision to shorten its recommended isolation time for asymptomatic COVID patients from 10 days to 5 without requiring a negative COVID test.
You can get people safely back out in a 5-day period, so long as they wear a mask, if they are without symptoms.
Early data suggests the rapid antigen tests may have reduced sensitivity to Omicron, though they still do detect it. This as the White House helps prepare over 500 million at-home tests for any American who wants one, though they're likely not going to be available until mid-January. M. Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Here at home, if you still need to get vaccinated or boosted, you could do that later today. The Alamo Dome will be back up and running for its drive-through vaccine clinics. It's happening from noon through 8 p.m. It will then close on Friday for New Year's Eve. You can also check your local pharmacy for the COVID vaccine.
It's 5:09 and 59 degrees.
So ahead, for those who find the classic game Minesweeper too difficult, how one person is making it way easier.
Up next, details on how you can get a free car wash today from 10 area wash tub locations.
And outside with a live cam on your Thursday morning. Have big plans for New Year's Eve or New Year's Day? Mike will get you updated on the forecast. It's about to get cold around here again. Finally, we'll be right back. Give blood, get a clean car. That's how Wash Tub is helping the San Antonio Blood and Tissue Center.
The Blood and Tissue Center continues to have a severe blood shortage. To help, the Wash Tub is hosting a special blood donation drive. Customers who donate blood get a free car wash. This is happening at 10 Wash Tub locations.
So the Wash Tub wants to help our community and help to provide as much blood to as many people in need, especially now during the holidays.
If you didn't make it yesterday, you have another opportunity today to save lives and get a free car wash. You can also enter to win a $500 gift card.
Time right now, 5:13. We're still stuck just under 60 degrees.
Still ahead, can you guess which shows were the most pirated in 2021? We'll have the results.
And if your kids were a little more bored than usual yesterday, this might be why. We'll tell you what happened to Fortnite coming up right here on GMSA.
Oh God, they'll never let us back in here. I'm James Corden, and I'm here to tell people that WW is getting even more personal. The new WW Personal Points Program is particular to you. You can eat pizza. You can even eat this if you want to. And these in the same, not at the same time. I wouldn't do them at the same time. No two plans are the same.
When can I start? Start the new year with 3 months free. Join today at WW.com. Hurry, offer ends January 3rd.
What happens when you block heartburn with one Prilosec OTC in the morning? Heartburn doesn't stand a chance. Day or night. Excess stomach acid can cause heartburn. Prilosec OTC works differently by preventing excess acid production. So don't fight heartburn. Block it. Prilosec OTC. One pill in the morning blocks heartburn all day and all night.
In today's Tech Bites, problems with Fortnite. The popular Battle Royale game was offline for hours Wednesday. Its creator, Epic, said it was addressing stability issues during that time. The company was able to bring the servers back online later in the day. Marvel is dominating the list of this year's most pirated shows. WandaVision took the #1 spot as the most illegally downloaded TV show. Fellow Disney Plus favorites also made the top 5, including Loki and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And for those consistently frustrated by Microsoft's Minesweeper game, there's an ultra-simplified version. An Australian man has created one square Minesweeper, but you can still lose if you don't right-click on the lone square to identify the game's only mine. Take some advice from Minesweeper. If you ignore those red flags, things might blow up in your face. Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
Raise your hand if you'd still lose at Minesweeper.
I never understood the rules as a child. I would just click, 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 click. Oh,
Yeah.
explosion.
What about you, Steven Cavazos?
I've never even heard of that game. What is Minesweeper?
It's like the only game on Microsoft Word. Like it was Paint and then like Minesweeper and then the card game.
I painted. I used to paint, so
I see that.
And I didn't, and I did not play Fortnite either. I've done it a few times, but I would just hide in the bushes, and miraculously, I still lose.
It's very on cue.
Yes. Well, right now it's still quiet out on the road, so let's take a closer look and see how empty it is out there. There's 64 at Petranco, maybe 1 or 2 vehicles out at that shop. But 410 at Callahan looks like it's getting a little bit busier, but not very busy. This is what we've been seeing the last few days, basically since last week, since a lot of people have been on break. And it's a great way to start the morning if you still have to head to work, because you're not going to encounter big problems, but be on the lookout because we still have some construction spots that are going to be going on here off of 410. There's a road work that's taking place, a left lane closure on the northbound frontage road from Ray Ellison Boulevard to Medina Base Road. Now, this should be wrapping up tomorrow, but as you can see right now, we're not seeing any delays with traffic. It's still very early on, and there's not a lot of folks out there this morning, but wider look at our map shows a very quiet start, and I am not complaining about that. It's a perfect time, again, to head out the door, grab that cup of coffee. That may be the only line that you encounter as you get this new day started. Not a whole lot to talk about in the traffic division here, but 35 at Cesar Chavez, it looks a little bit busier there. We're going to continue to keep a close eye on these roads, and we'll talk more gas prices, including some other construction spots to be on the lookout for a little bit later on, guys.
Okay, you two.
Yeah.
The youngest don't remember this. Mark, did you have the Mattel football game? Little handheld?
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
With the little moving lines.
Yeah, and it would just you'd go up and down and forth. Yeah.
Yep, I had that one, and then had like a submarine one. And that was it.
But
and then Merlin, and then there was the thing with the 4 colored buttons that you was like, you had to repeat it. What was it? It wasn't Connect 4. It was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What is it?
I'm lost. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, and you'd have to. Yes, that was.
Was it Simon?
No.
Simon?
No,
I don't know.
Simon was later.
We'll figure it out.
Anyway.
All right. Not
Everybody's
bad.
like, move on, old guys.
That Mattel football game, though, that thing was great. All right, Yvonne's got a great picture there. Sorry about the glitches, but yeah, a lot of fog. This was yesterday in Atascosa County, and you are seeing some of that again this morning. Not a bad view out there at the airport, and we are seeing a couple of sprinkles that are being detected on radar. A lot of this is evaporating before it hits the ground. If you do get one of these little sprinkles, don't be surprised by it, but it's just kind of a gee whiz thing at best. All right, visibility. Pleasanton, 2.5 miles right now, 6 Randolph, 9 Stinson, so not bad around the metropolitan area for the time being. But you head out I-10, you're going to run into a lot of fog around Gonzales, especially then going down to the southeast, Corpus Christi, Beeville, Victoria. Very, very thick fog, and there's already a dense fog advisory for our southeastern counties up until 10 o'clock this morning. So it will be very stubborn. It may try and work its way a little bit further inland. Okay, yesterday we started off very humid. Then we've got some of that dry air coming in here late in the afternoon, and the dew point temperatures are down a good 10, 15, 20 degrees or more, especially out in portions of the hill country. This is compared to this time yesterday. Going to be a whole different story tomorrow and even this afternoon with the humidity coming back in here. It is going to be very humid this afternoon. It's going to be very humid tomorrow. Then we get the front moving through, kind of a 1-2 situation with the front. We get the dry air coming in here initially on Saturday. It's going to be breezy, but we'll still be on the hot side. We're still going to make it up into the low 80s. That drier air, as it dries out, much easier to heat up dry air than moist air. Then the cold air comes on in here, and that's going to be associated with these dew points that are going to be well down into the teens and even colder than that by Sunday or by Monday morning. These are actual temperatures right now. 3 below Bismarck, 8 below International Falls, and that colder air is coming in here again Saturday night into Sunday. We're going to be down to about 35 degrees, and then it gets even colder by Monday morning as the real cold stuff settles on in here. So this afternoon we're going to be make it up to 80. Partly cloudy skies. The humidity comes back in here. You're definitely going to feel it. More mist and drizzle tomorrow morning, some fog, and then very warm and humid. It's going to be a sultry evening tomorrow night, and starting off Saturday morning to start off the new year. Very humid, maybe some mist, some fog. Front comes through. The wind shift initially, the dry air comes through and dries us out Saturday during the day, so low humidity, and then the cold air comes on in here. So 29 degrees we're looking at Monday morning.
One of our directors sent me a link to eBay, and you could buy those Mattel handheld electric football games in working conditions for about $15 to $20.
That's not bad.
The game that you and I were struggling to remember, it was Simon.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Good chat.
I didn't have those, sorry.
That's okay. You have
I think you can probably, there's an app like Simon, though, too.
Oh, I'm sure
There's
there is.
an app for everything.
There's an app for everything. No doubt about that. 523, 59 degrees.
Still ahead in your morning spotlight, LL Cool J says he has COVID-19, plus a look at Jessica Chastain's big leap in the 355.
Movie stars deal with many of the same problems regular people do, from illness to dangerous work conditions.
Here's CNN's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
This is about the art. LL Cool J is the latest entertainer to announce he's tested positive for COVID-19. The actor and rapper, who was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, canceled his planned performance on Friday's Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest 2022.
Now at this point, I can only laugh.
Jada Pinkett Smith is finding humor in hair loss. The Matrix Resurrections actress shared an Instagram video showing her closely shaved head with the caption, "Me and this alopecia are going to be friends, period." Pinkett Smith first went public about losing her hair in 2018.
We managed to get Jessica Chastain up there, 22 feet up in the air, jumping 18 feet out, and she was game for it.
A new featurette for the 355 shows Jessica Chastain eager to do her own stunts, even when the crane lifted her much higher than she was anticipating.
I got up there and I looked down and everyone was looking up at me, and I really felt like I'm not getting down unless I jump down.
Action!
You can see all her stunts when the 355 opens January 7th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Okay. Cool. Don't make me say things that I say.
You're good.
Okay.
You're good. We can move along if you'd like.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right, 527 and 59 degrees.
Still ahead on GMSA as COVID-19 cases spike. There are new details regarding CDC quarantine recommendations.
Ever feel like somebody's watching you on social media? Well, we'll tell you about targeted ads and why you might soon see less of them.
As I unfriend Sarah Costa. And if you're looking for a new pet for the new year, a furry friend is standing by over at the San Antonio Humane Society.
One man is dead, and San Antonio police searching for the suspect involved in a shooting happening in downtown. Coming up next, what we know.
Taking a look outside with live cam. 59 degrees at 5:31 this morning. Mike is back from his holiday vacation. He'll have our forecast and let us know when things will finally cool down in just a bit.
Yeah, he's refreshed and chipper this morning.
Sure is.
You okay? Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, December 30th.
Yep, I officially spilled half my coffee down my dress this morning at the top of the 4:30, and then shortly after that, Stephen Cavazos spilled his coffee. So, Mark and Mike, you're next.
It's just a matter of time, Mike Osterhage.
Way to jinx things.
Yeah, not putting that juju out there or anything.
And of course, it's Murphy's Law. You wear a white dress and you spill coffee all over it. So anyway, make sure you put your coffee cup down as you hit the road this morning. Always heed that advice. Not bad as far as visibility is concerned here in town, but there are some folks that are dealing with a whole lot of fog again this morning. Not as widespread as what it was the past couple of days. 60, so we're still almost 20 above normal. Dew points at 52. The air did dry out yesterday afternoon. It's on the comfortable side, especially in the hill country this morning, but that is going to be changing. We've got a little bit of a breeze out of the northwest at 3 miles per hour. Castroville, 7 miles visibility, 2.5 at Pleasanton. Things haven't changed that much. It's 6 miles visibility at Randolph as of right now, but a lot of thick fog off to the east where the dense fog advisory remains in effect up until 10 o'clock this morning. We're also seeing a couple little sprinkles that are being picked up on radar. Now, a lot of this, because the air is so dry in the hill country, may be evaporating before it reaches the ground. If there is a little sprinkle, just don't be surprised by it, but it's not going to amount to a whole heck of a lot. Mountain Cedar is almost at 15,000. Updated count's going to be coming out in a couple of hours or so. Mold is on the moderate side. And throughout the day, we are going to be another hot one. Going to see temperatures getting well up there to 80 degrees. The record today, of course, we hit a record of 85 yesterday. The record today is 83. Very close call, but the humidity is coming back in here. It takes a lot more energy to heat up that dry air. So we won't heat up the moisture, pardon me. We won't hit a record, but it's definitely going to feel like it. I mean, heat index are something we're going to be talking about later on today. Same thing tomorrow. Big changes come for the first of the year. Details on that in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority Stephen Cavazos, probably still pretty quiet out there, right?
Yeah, and no coffee stains, Mike. I mean, I'm wearing black. If I had one, you probably couldn't see it anyways. But let's get a quick look at the roadways. As Mike said, put the coffee down when you're driving. That's the best advice I could give you as well as we're getting this early morning started. Loop 410 at Evers, still pretty quiet this morning. Not a whole lot to talk about when we see these shots at TransGuide. Again, just a few folks getting their morning started early with us. And right now, the roads have been looking good from these shots at TransGuide. However, taking you right to the map, I did notice that there is a crash that popped up off the TxDOT website of 35 northbound at Weidner Road just moments before Mike tossed over to me. So I'll get that on the map and find out how that could impact your drive if you perhaps may be heading up to New Braunfels a little bit later this morning. So we'll take a look at that. But if you are traveling and you're not going to find any delays at this hour from any of our neighboring communities, let's take a look right now. If you're coming in from I-10 and Seguin in those westbound lanes, still pretty green with 28 minutes at this hour. 87 northbound coming in from Livonia, just 22 minutes right now, and 28 minutes coming in from Floresville to the downtown San Antonio area on 37. So not too bad, but we're going to find out how that crash is going to impact traffic a little bit later on this morning. Mark, Sarah?
Thank you, Stephen. New this morning, a heavy police presence downtown overnight. San Antonio police responding to a shooting just blocks from the Alamo itself. Our Jonathan Cotto joins us live. Jonathan, it's happening in an area high with tourist traffic. Do we know what sparked the gunfire?
Well, that's a good question, Mark, and you're absolutely right. This all happening near the Riverwalk. Now, information as to what exactly led up to the shooting is all very limited, but we do know right now one person has been killed. Let's take a look at what that scene looked like earlier. We know San Antonio police responded to the scene near Market Street in South Alamo near I-37 in downtown around midnight. Now, it's still unclear what led up to the shooting, but we do know that we don't know if there's any relation between the shooter and the victim at this time, but we do know the gunman quickly left the scene, and police say he jumped down towards the Riverwalk. Now, police have been busy collecting evidence and combing through the area in search of that suspect, and we know EMS and San Antonio Fire Department were on scene. Now, again, the person involved in the shooting took off. Right now, the search and investigation is ongoing. We'll keep you updated as more information is made available. Reporting live from Public Safety Headquarters, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Well, it was predicted weeks ago, and COVID cases are on the rise right now, and it's hitting our hospitals very hard.
But as Britt Conroy reports, other industries are also feeling it, and health experts say it's just beginning.
We're in a mess right now. This country is going to be in the soup in just in the next few weeks.
Because this country is averaging more than 300,000 new COVID-19 cases a day, the highest it's ever been. Deaths are on the rise, too. The CDC predicts more than 44,000 people will die of COVID-19 over the next 4 weeks. Hospitals are bearing the weight of it all, treating and testing, as the country faces a shortage of COVID-19 tests. Even as the FDA authorized 2 new over-the-counter at-home tests for emergency use, Roche and Siemens. A number of states have called up the National Guard to help with the strain, with Georgia, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Ohio making that decision this week. The mayor of Cincinnati declared a state of emergency because of so many firefighters who've gotten COVID. In New York City, an FDNY spokesman says about 30% of EMS workers and 17% of firefighters are out sick, and an entire subway line has been suspended there because of staffing shortages. Thousands of flights have been canceled or delayed as staff and crew call out sick, and health experts worry things will only get worse.
We're going to see critical infrastructure challenged. The places where we buy our food, places that we get our gasoline are all going to be challenged, having enough people on the job.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
In Florida, a maintenance worker was hospitalized with serious injuries after he entered an unauthorized area of a zoo and was attacked by a tiger. The tiger was shot and killed by authorities in order to free the man's arm from the animal's jaws. Authorities in Naples, Florida say the incident happened at the Naples Zoo yesterday after it had been closed to the public. Reports say the victim was part of a cleaning crew, but apparently tried to pet or feed the tiger in a restricted area.
Hong Kong police are formally charging 2 people from an online pro-democracy news outlet with sedition. It comes a day after the outlet said it would cease operations following a police raid on its office and 7 arrests. According to local media reports, the 2 charged were editors at Stand News. The police also said they would prosecute the company as well.
Right now, 5:38, 58 degrees.
Ever feel like advertisers are stalking you online? Like when you mention a product and then it shows up in your social media feed? Why we soon may see less of those targeted advertisements.
Mike is back. He's got an update on your New Year's weekend forecast, but it's a beautiful morning so far here in San Antonio, Texas. Glad you're with us here on GMSA. 541, welcome back. We've all experienced looking at a product on a certain website, then going to another site and seeing ads for that same product.
I kind of like that, though. I don't know. Well, this is called retargeting in the advertising industry, and we may start to see less of it. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more.
Most of us are familiar with those annoying pop-up notices when we're on a website, asking us to accept cookies to continue navigating the site.
So a cookie is a little text file that websites put in your web browser, and they can tell everything you've been doing online.
Cookies can be a good thing, like when they save your passwords so you can log in quicker or keep track of what's in your virtual shopping cart. These are known as first-party cookies. But there are major privacy concerns with what's called third-party cookies.
It's what allows companies to monetize their websites by showing targeted ads or selling information about you. And it helps pay for the content that we like, but it also ends up spreading your information all over the internet to places you have no idea where it's going.
With consumers and regulators getting more concerned about privacy, companies are starting to eliminate their use of third-party cookies, which means fewer instances of your online behavior being tracked and shared across multiple sites. But to make up for the losses in ad income, some companies may start requiring payment to view their websites.
Whether that's worth that privacy trade-off is a personal question, but it is something that could happen over the long term.
Even though eliminating third-party advertising means your personal data passes through fewer hands, it's important to know that companies will still be using those first-party cookies to collect your data. If you want to better protect your privacy now,
one of the choices you can make is switching to a browser like Firefox or one called Brave, or even using Safari, because those all have tools built in to protect your privacy.
You can also subscribe to a VPN service or download an ad blocker browser extension. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
What, Sarah?
What?
543, 58 degrees.
Thanks, Mark. All right, up next, we'll check in with the San Antonio Humane Society and meet a pet that needs a new home.
Well, it is time for maybe a little kitty cat under the tree. Kim's here from the San Antonio Humane Society, and this little whiny baby.
Hey, this is Pecan Pie. She's just saying, good morning, everybody. Oh, that's what she wanted.
Oh, you need your little head
She
scratch.
wanted you to just scratch her head this morning.
Are you worried that Santa Claus won't come? No.
Oh, yeah, just a good morning. So she's a 3-month-old little tabby mix, short-haired. Yeah, just a sweet. Now look, this is what, you're just gonna have to do this.
It's going to be a little lap kitty for you there. So
you have the touch, Mike.
What you got going on as we're heading in toward Christmas?
Yeah, so we have a really neat shelter. It's called Shelter Helpers. It's an extension of our Camp Humane, and it's for middle schoolers, high schoolers. They can earn service credit. It's on Saturday, January the 5th. They can register on our website at sahumane.org/education, and you get to learn behind the scenes of what happens at the shelter. So it's really a neat thing. Really cool for your kids to get involved.
If you're looking for an activity right after the New Year's, so
yes.
Up on that Saturday.
Yes.
So if you'd like more information about that and more information about a little whiny baby over here, just head on over to the San Antonio Humane Society at 4804 Fredericksburg Road, or 226-7461 is the number to call. Thank you very much, dear, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Just like that. That's very impressive.
You like that?
Yeah, thanks, Sarah.
No problem.
Learned something new about Stephen Cavazos. You've got a cat that your folks have now. But
Yeah.
Your cat growing up.
Yeah.
And her name is?
Elizabeth Taylor. I had her for 15 years.
So on brand for you.
Yeah. She's all about the diamonds and the catnip. So, yeah, I love her dearly. She had a lot of husbands, probably in her past life, but, you know, right now she's just married to the food. So I love her.
I was
dearly.
joking that another cat would have been Richard Burton. I'm correcting it to Richard Purton.
Oh, that's clever.
I like
That's
that.
clever. So, hey, that could be a clever name for any of the wonderful cats over at the Humane Society, right? Let's take a look right now at the roadways, because if you are going to get your morning started early, you have no problems. We told you about a crash earlier off 35 at Weidner. It does look like that is cleared out. So right now we have a lot of clear roads here off 410 at Evers. A few folks out there, not as many as we would see around this time, given that it is still a holiday, and hopefully a lot of people are just enjoying their morning at home with a cup of coffee watching GMSA. So, but if you do have to head out, not going to find any big problems, as you can see on this map here. Still pretty green on the screen. But let's take you up, because as we're inching closer to the new year here off Kendall County, you can expect some road closures. Now, this is part of the I-10 Kendall Extension Project, and starting Monday, January 3rd, the I-10 eastbound frontage road in Kendall County will be closed from Manger Springs to US 87. That's not that far of a stretch there, but this is to make space for the next stage of the project, I should say. But if you are going to be driving through that area, we do have some detours for you right now to keep in mind, because the eastbound frontage road traffic will be detoured to the eastbound frontage road, eastbound entrance ramp at I-10, I should say, and that will return to the eastbound frontage road using the exit 543. That's a scenic loop exit. So it's not too bad, but again, this is going to be completed by spring 2022, so we still have some ways to go. But again, something to keep in mind if you are going to be driving up to Bernie or driving back from Bernie coming up on Monday. So it's going to be quite a while, guys.
Meow.
Funny you mentioned Richard Burton. Years ago up in Detroit, there was a DJ, Dick Purton. P-U-R-T-A-N. So.
Purton.
I said Richard Purton. So
okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to write these down.
If there's any old Detroiters up there that, so.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey, it strikes up memories. And then, of course, when the uncertainties of life consume, you look up to the sky. I'm quoting our KSAT Connects picture right there. Thank you very much. It is nice every once in a while just kind of sit and stare at the sky, right?
Right.
Like it. Or the lights in the studio up here. So thank you very much for the KSAT Connect picture. No problem as far as fog here in town right now. We do have a lot of it around the area. Also been noting how there's a couple of sprinkles that are showing up on radar. Some of this may be evaporating before it reaches the ground because the air is so dry out there. But there could be a little sprinkle or two here or there. Not really a big deal. Pleasanton visibility has dropped down. It stayed steady elsewhere in the metropolitan area and still very, very thick down to the southeast, although it has improved ever so slightly in Beeville, but dropped to zero visibility in Gonzales. So if you're heading out to the east and to the southeast, you're going to run into some of this fog. Dense fog advisory till 10 o'clock, so obviously it will be very stubborn. Yesterday, record high temperature of 85 degrees. Today, we are going to be up to 80. Not quite a record. The record's 83. And I think we stay down just a little bit because the humidity is going to be coming back on in here. So, yeah, on one hand, it takes a lot more energy to heat up the moist air, so that keeps us from hitting a record. But, of course, we're going to have a heat index to deal with later on this afternoon. Temperatures around the country right now, it is definitely bone chilling and then some well up there to the north. And there's wind chill temperatures that just really add insult to injury up there. And we will be getting a piece of that as we go in toward the weekend. Here's what's going on right now. We still have this southwesterly flow aloft in the atmosphere that keeps some of that overrunning around. This is helping to keep us very, very mild. And then as we go on into Saturday, first of all, we're going to get the dry air moving on in here. So that's going to push the humidity out. We will be on the hot side, still up in the low 80s on Saturday. Then, as you see, we talked about this even a couple of weeks ago, how we weren't with the cold air, weren't getting those upper level wind lines coming straight down out of Canada. Well, that's going to be the case this time around. So very, very cold air comes in here, coldest air of the season, and that's going to knock temperatures down to right around mid 30s here in town. Sunday morning, obviously much colder in the hill country, and then looks like we are in store for a first freeze. Pretty good shot at that by Monday morning, and that would be officially here in town. 75 degrees at noon today, partly cloudy skies, and then a high temperature today up to 80. It's going to be humid, too. That humidity is definitely going to come back. It's going to be warm and humid tomorrow. We'll start off with mist and drizzle in the morning, and then we'll have plenty of clouds, sultry evening tomorrow night, and starting off on New Year's morning. Then dry air comes in here. We get rid of the humidity. It's going to be windy. Then the cold air comes on in here, and it's going to be cold Sunday and Monday.
That's quite a way to start the new year.
Yes, indeed. So one extreme to the other for the new year.
Go figure.
Yeah. Gotta cover them with plants, make sure all the animals are inside. Get prepared.
We will. Thank you very much, Mike. 552, about 58 degrees.
Well, while Spider-Man No Way Home is the biggest movie of 2021, there's lots of other movies coming up in 2022 that could also top the box office. We'll have a preview next.
Here are your lottery numbers, and we'll update you on Powerball in 1 second. Pick 3 numbers: 105, Fireball 1. Daily 4 numbers: 2128, Fireball 7.
Cash 5, 157, 14, 26. Texas Lotto, 117, 22, 36, 39, 52. All right, Powerball did not have a winner at $440 million. Numbers 2, 6, 9, 33, 39, Powerball 11, Power Play 2. It is now up to $483 million.
When that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
Robert Pattinson fights for Gotham City in The Batman. Pattinson dons the cowl of a young Dark Knight as he takes on the Riddler. The Batman swoops into theaters March 4th.
Don't look at me! Stay back!
It's happened already?
What did you say?
Disney and Pixar's latest animated adventure is turning red. As if being a 13-year-old girl wasn't hard enough, the character Mei Li also has to deal with turning into a giant red panda. The fur flies March 11th.
Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished.
Benedict Cumberbatch is back in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Following the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, the Doctor delves deeper into the worlds of the multiverse. The Doctor is in May 6th.
Your instructor is one of the finest pilots this program has ever produced.
The long-awaited Top Gun Maverick flies into theaters this year. Tom Cruise is back in the cockpit as Pete Mitchell when Top Gun Maverick takes to the skies May 27th.
To infinity.
And another courageous pilot heads to infinity and beyond in Lightyear. Chris Evans takes on the voice role of Buzz Lightyear in an origin story for the Toy Story character. Lightyear lifts off June 17th. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Ahead in the next hour, GMSA, the latest on overnight fire at a Northwest Side restaurant. We'll tell you if anyone was hurt at Jerusalem Grill. Very latest on a deadly shooting in downtown San Antonio. Jonathan Cotto is standing by with the latest on this story. Live details coming up. And TransGuide Stephen is here. We've seen light traffic most of this week, but a few folks have to get to work this morning and are out and about early. There's I-10 at Hackberry and I-35 at Cesar Chavez. We'll be back.
San Antonio Police Department investigating a shooting that's left one person dead. What we know so far, coming up next.
I'm ABC's Em Nguyen in Washington. The new COVID-19 wave shatters record highs as the FDA authorizes a new at-home COVID test. This and the latest on Omicron coming up.
And the search is on for a man in his 80s last seen in far northwest Bexar County. We'll have details on that silver alert.
58 degrees at 6 o'clock this morning. Mike is back from his vacation, and he's going to let us know when we can expect some much cooler temps in just a bit.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning to you. It is Thursday, December 30th.
Thank you so much for starting your morning with us. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, everybody. And Mike
Thursday.
is back from Christmas break. How was your holiday, sir?
Yeah, it was absolutely wonderful. So I'm kind of wish it would have lasted a little longer, but you know, back to it. And as far as colder temperatures, 72 hours.
72 hours.
When you wake up Sunday morning is going to be a whole different story. So, yeah.
Happy New Year. Burr.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but then New Year's morning, though, is going to wake up and it's going to be just like it is right now. So very warm, very humid. Of course, we've got a bit of a break in the humidity late yesterday afternoon, but it's definitely going to be coming back into the picture throughout the day today. Now, we do have some fog to deal with. The metropolitan area is pretty good. Pleasanton has come up just a little bit as far as visibility, but then thick fog, Gonzales, Beeville, and off to the east and southeast. Dense fog advisory still in effect down to the southeast up until 10 o'clock this morning. So even though there's no advisory closer or further to the west, if you will, closer into San Antonio, just be on the lookout for a little bit of fog. You might turn a corner, some low-lying areas could see a little bit of that. Also, we're seeing a little bit of some light rain being picked up on radar. Some of this, especially in the hill country, is more than likely evaporating before it reaches the ground because we've got such dry air out there. But there could be just a little sprinkle here and there this morning, not really anything of any consequence. Mountain cedar, if you are sneezing, sniffling, this is probably why. About 15,000. Mold is on the moderate side. Updated count's going to be coming out in about an hour, hour and a half or so. And then, of course, we've got that big front coming through on Saturday. That may really give the mountain cedar trees another good shake. We're going to be at, holding steady, may drop down a couple of degrees in the next few hours, and then we'll see more sunshine later on today. Kind of call it partly cloudy skies. Going to heat up quite a bit. We'll already be up in the mid-70s today at noon. Top off at 80. The record's 83. Obviously, it's going to be a close call. We will have a lot more humidity, so that takes a lot more energy to heat that up, but not hitting a record, although we're going to be talking heat index later on today. Another hot one tomorrow, and we'll talk about the front coming through over the weekend in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority Stephen Cavazos been pretty quiet so far.
It has, Mike Osterhage. We have not seen a lot of issues out on the road, and that's a good sign, especially as we're getting closer to that morning rush, but we can expect some quiet roads, at least for now. You can take a look at I-10 at Hackberry. Very quiet, 6 a.m. Usually we see a lot more folks out there, but we know that some of you are staying at home and enjoying that cup of coffee for us on on your couch. But right now, if you have to head out the door, this is what you can expect. Just some light traffic there at 35 at Top Rewind. And as we take a look at 35 at New Braunfels, it's still relatively quiet and the lanes are wide open for you. But again, take it easy out there as we're getting this new day started. Let's take you to the map. Be on the lookout because we do have a stall here off US 90 eastbound at Couples Road. It's not causing any issues as you're driving into San Antonio. As you can see, those eastbound lanes are still pretty much green, and we're seeing the same in those westbound lanes. But of course, anytime you see a flashing light, a driver that's experiencing trouble, move over, slow down. Wider look at the map does show, again, very quiet. It's almost like a copy and paste from the last few days, so it's not looking too bad right now. And if you're traveling into San Antonio from any of our neighboring communities, well, we got some good news. It is green across the board, especially if you're coming in from Pleasanton on 37. Pretty pleasant drive on 37 northbound with 27 minutes. Right now, coming in from Castroville, that stall's not going to impact you too badly because it's 19 minutes to the downtown San Antonio area. And 35 coming in from Lytle, little time with 17 minutes at this hour. Let's take one last look around town. 1604 at Culebra. We're going to continue to keep a close eye on these roadways, and we'll give you more updates on construction coming up in the next few minutes. Mark, Sarah.
Thank you, Stephen. New this morning, an overnight shooting just blocks away from the Alamo has left one person dead.
Jonathan Cotto joins us live this morning. Jonathan, do we know anything about the suspects in this shooting?
No, we don't. And we also don't know if there was any relation between the victim and the shooter and exactly what led up to that shooting. And of course, what we do know right now is that the gunman did leave the scene. This is what the scene looked like earlier, and it was definitely a busy scene and a busy morning. San Antonio police responding to the shooting near Market Street in South Alamo around midnight. This is in downtown near I-37, just a couple of blocks away from the Alamo. Now, we have learned an elderly man was shot in the upper body. Police say he was found dead on arrival. And again, it's still unclear what led up to the shooting, but we know the gunman quickly left the scene. Police tell us he jumped down towards the Riverwalk. Now, we know this is an area high in tourist traffic, but no other injuries were reported. Police have been collecting evidence and combing through the area in search of that suspect. EMS and San Antonio Fire Department were also on scene. Now, it's important to mention the search and the investigation continues. Of course, we'll keep you updated as more information is made available. Reporting live from Public Safety Headquarters, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Jonathan, thank you very much. Also new this morning, a silver alert has been issued for a missing person. You may see it on TransGuide signs as you're heading into work or elsewhere today. Bexar County Sheriff's Office looking for 81-year-old John Lamb. He's diagnosed with a cognitive impairment. He was last seen around 5 o'clock last night in far northwest Bexar County off Highland Star, not too far from Culebra. He's 6 feet tall, weighs about 200 pounds, has gray hair, brown eyes, and was last seen wearing a white short-sleeve button-up shirt. According to BCSO, he was last seen in a green 2008 Mercury Mariner with Texas license plate FTS 9859. If you have any information on where Mr. Lamb may be, please call the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. That number is 210-335-6000.
We want to remind you the search for 3-year-old Lena Kill has not ended as we enter the 11th day she's been missing. She was last seen on December 20th at her Northwest Side apartment complex. Anyone with information that leads to Lena can get a $150,000 reward. If you can help, call SAPD's Missing Persons Unit, that number on your screen right there, 210-207-7660.
Now, the local news this morning, Trinity University extending its winter break by 2.5 weeks after seeing a rise in COVID cases in their campus community. But students and employees will have to prove they've received their booster shots or get tested every week. Meanwhile, Alamo colleges, Texas A&M, San Antonio, and UTSA plan to have a normal start to their spring semesters. Our Lady of the Lake University, St. Mary's, and the University of the Incarnate Word are monitoring for any possible changes.
Around the country, new coronavirus cases have more than doubled over the last 2 weeks as concerns grow over New Year celebrations.
This as the FDA authorizes another at-home COVID test and as the CDC continues to defend their recently announced changes in isolation times for infected Americans.
ABC's M. Nguyen has the latest from Washington, plus what the FDA has just authorized.
Good morning. The FDA has authorized 2 new over-the-counter at-home COVID tests. One manufactured by Siemens was given the okay yesterday. Another by SD Biosensor Christmas Eve. The Department of Health and Human Services says this will bring tens of millions of new tests per month in the U.S. amid a new wave of COVID-19. This morning, a tsunami of new COVID-19 cases. In the last week alone, the U.S. seeing nearly 1.9 million new cases, meaning around 3 people test positive for the virus every second across the country. The U.S. averaging 277,000 new cases a day, more than at any other point during the pandemic. The White House reporting a 126% increase in cases over the last 2 weeks. Health experts predict daily cases across the country will climb even higher, Dr. Jha telling CNN.
No doubt we'll at least hit half a million. We might hit 1 million a day.
And now, more than 84,000 Americans, including Edgar in Maryland, are in the hospital with COVID.
When I breathe, it hurts. When I cough, it hurts.
The silver lining, hospitalizations remain lower than previous surges.
With the sheer number of infections, we are going to see, unfortunately, pressure on our hospital systems.
Early data suggests the rapid antigen tests may have reduced sensitivity to Omicron, though they still do detect it. This as the White House helps prepare over 500 million at-home tests for any American who wants one, though they're likely not going to be available until mid-January. Wynn, ABC News, Washington.
And if you still need to get vaccinated or boosted, you can do that later today. The Alamo Dome will open back up for its drive-through vaccine clinic that's happening from noon to 8 p.m. It will then close on Friday for New Year's Eve. You can also check your local pharmacy for the COVID-19 vaccine. Now to the aftermath of Galen Maxwell's conviction on sex trafficking charges.
Right now, she's in jail waiting on what could be a decades-long sentence.
Here's ABC's Mona Kozar-Abdi.
This morning, prosecutors are calling it a, quote, great day for justice, after a jury found Galen Maxwell guilty on 5 of 6 federal charges, including the sex trafficking of minors. The 6-year-old Maxwell showed no reaction when the verdict was read before 2 U.S. Marshals walked her out of the courtroom. She now faces up to 65 years behind bars.
The unanimous jury has found Galen Maxwell guilty of one of the worst crimes imaginable: facilitating and participating in the sexual abuse of children, crimes that she committed with her longtime partner and co-conspirator, Jeffrey Epstein.
It's a stunning fall from grace for the British socialite who once rubbed elbows with world leaders and royalty. The longtime companion of disgraced financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was described by prosecutors as his partner in crime. The government accusing her of being a serial predator who helped Epstein sexually abuse underage girls, arguing she lured young girls to Epstein's homes and invited them to give him explicit massages, managing the details right down to the lotion and oils. At the heart of the prosecution's case, 4 accusers who say they were recruited and groomed by Maxwell when they were teenagers. One accuser, only known by her first name Carolyn, saying in a statement, quote, satisfaction with Maxwell's conviction is tempered by the knowledge that the other co-conspirators have yet to be held responsible for their involvement in Jeffrey Epstein's extraordinary criminal enterprise. Maxwell's defense claiming she was being used as a scapegoat for Epstein and attempted to discredit her accusers, questioning their memories and claiming they were motivated by money. Maxwell's family, who were in the courtroom when the verdict was read, releasing a statement overnight saying, quote, we believe firmly in our sister's innocence. Mona Kozar-Abdi, ABC News, New York.
612, about 57 degrees.
Have you ever wondered what television shows get pirated the most? Ahead on GMSA, we'll tell you which programs are being illegally downloaded the most.
Go outside with live cam right now, and we're not seeing quite as much fog or mist as we saw yesterday morning. Mike says some is out there in our huge viewing area. He'll get you updated on that. And your New Year's forecast on this Thursday, December 30th.
Today's Tech Bites, problems with Fortnite. The popular Battle Royale game was offline for hours on Wednesday. Its creator Epic said it was addressing stability issues during that time. The company was able to bring the service back online later in the day.
Marvel dominating the list of this year's most pirated shows. WandaVision took the #1 spot as the most illegally downloaded TV show. Fellow Disney Plus favorites also made the top 5, included Loki and Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
All of my favorites right there.
Let's check on traffic at 6:16. Here's Steven Cavazos.
Yeah, they're all superhero shows, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, my dad's my favorite superhero. Shout out to my dad.
Oh.
Yeah. 281 at Grayson. Let's get a quick look around town. 37. Not a whole lot of traffic out there. 1604 at Culebra. And it's pretty nice, especially that it's still the holidays. But if you have to head out the door for whatever reason, this is what you're likely going to see at this hour. Just some, again, light moving traffic there at 410 at McCullough. Other shots here at I-10 at Hackberry show. This is pretty much how busy we're going to probably see it at least up until tomorrow when New Year's Eve rolls around. But if you do have to head out, be on the lookout because there's still some problems out there that have presented themselves. This stall we told you about off US 90 eastbound at Couples Road hasn't been causing any issues, but I believe that has since cleared out. So that's some good news for the driver that's received some of that help. But as we take a jump right over here and further down to I-10 westbound at Preston Street, we have a new stall that's popped up that's not causing problems just yet, but be on the lookout for that. As we take a wider look at our map, it's pretty much green, but we're still seeing a small slowdown there off 87 northbound. So not too bad, but just again, something to be on the lookout for. You're not going to have to plan any alternative routes this morning. It has been very quiet out on the roadways, as evident there from these shots here at TransGuide. Let's take one last look at 410 at Evers. The morning is getting moving, guys.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Mike joins us now wearing a University of Tennessee inspired necktie.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice tie.
A Christmas gift from my sons.
Oh, nice.
Who is now going to be a proud member of the upcoming classes.
Next year, volunteer. So anyway, 57 degrees right now, and it's about 15 degrees above normal. Humidity is, well, it depends on where you are. In the hill country, it's not bad. Here in town, still, it's okay. Dew point's at 51. We're below 60, so that's tolerable, but that's all going to be changing later on this afternoon as the humidity definitely works its way back on in here. All right, it's one of those things that happens every year, and for people that aren't maybe accustomed to what we're looking at right now, it's not the trees, it's not the sky. It's all that stuff right in there. That is mountain cedar pollen, which is just hanging out. Yeah, Mark is grimacing over there. A lot of folks are really starting to feel it, and the count's up to almost 15,000. Yesterday's count, the updated reading is going to come out later on this morning, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens then with the big front that moves through on Saturday. It's going to be windy on Saturday, and all that really cold air coming on in here, so that's probably going to give those trees a good shake. So visibility is not bad in town right now, and we also been watching a couple little sprinkly showers that have been showing up on radar. A lot of this is evaporating before it reaches the ground because the air is so dry out there. And we do have some fog. Metropolitan area is not bad. We do have a cloud cover right now, and that's helping out as far as kind of keeping a lid on temperatures and not letting temperatures continue to drop down. But we're going to have to be on the lookout for the next couple of hours. Pleasanton, 2 miles visibility right now. Gonzales, it's still at 0. And that dense fog advisory, again, remains in effect up until 10 o'clock. So for at least the next 4 hours, meaning it's going to be some stubborn fog. So 57 right now, and then 49 in Comfort. And the humidity, again, out in the hill country, it's really dry air, and the humidity is definitely coming back on in here, and that's going to be the case throughout the day. So dew points come up. It's going to be a sultry day, 80, very humid overnight. We'll have more fog, mist, drizzle tomorrow morning, and then it stays pretty humid all the way through all the New Year's Eve celebrations and starting off Saturday. Then that's going to be changing with the front moving on through. It's kind of going to be a sort of a 1-2 punch, if you will, as far as the front coming through. Initially, we will have the wind shifting around to the west. It's going to pull in much drier air throughout the day on Saturday, and that's going to allow things to really heat up. We'll be up in the low 80s on Saturday. Then the cold air comes in here overnight into Sunday. Today, 75 at noon, partly cloudy skies. Again, some stubborn fog this morning, and then 80 high temperature today, and the record's 83. Yesterday, of course, we hit the record of 85. It's going to be a close call, but with that humid air, it takes a lot more energy to heat up. So I don't think the record is in jeopardy today, but obviously a very close call. Really warm and sultry tomorrow morning. Fog, mist tomorrow night. Probably take a light jacket. You may not even need it for tomorrow night's festivities if you're heading on out. And then a really warm start Saturday morning. Very hot but drier air, and then windy and then colder on Sunday, down to 35 Sunday morning, 29. Our first freeze of the season here in town Monday morning.
Here we go.
I haven't minded the warm weather. I just, read my book on the porch yesterday, had t-shirt and shorts walking, but it's not hot. It's just
right.
Well, it was pretty warm before the dry air came in yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
It was kind of like,
well, I did say I could probably wear a tank top instead of a t-shirt, but
But Choices.
Choices are tough.
You're not going to be wearing that tank top Sunday.
No, I will not. Double sweatpants.
621, about 57 degrees.
All right, the Big 12 and Pac-12 squared off last night in the Valero Alamo Bowl, and it was a good one. We'll have a recap after the break.
This SA Salutes holiday greeting is brought to you by Walk-On Sports Bistro.
Hi, my name is Zoe from Walk-On's Hollywood Park. I want to give a special shout out to the active duty military members and veterans. Have a Merry Christmas.
Trilogy for COPD.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on.
If you've been playing down your COPD,
It's a new dawn, it's a new day.
it's time to make a stand. Start a new day with Trilogy.
And I'm feeling good.
No once daily COPD medicine has the power to treat COPD in as many ways as Trilogy. With 3 medicines in 1 inhaler, Trilogy helps people breathe easier and improves lung function. It also helps prevent future flare-ups. Trilogy won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Do not take Trilogy more than prescribed. Trilogy may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur. Take a stand and start a new day with Trilogy. Ask your doctor about once daily Trilogy and save at Trilogy.com.
The Valero Alamo Bowl is in the books. Oregon Ducks taking on the Oklahoma Sooners at the Alamo Dome last night. Sooners got up early, outscoring the Ducks 30-3 in the first half. Ducks did start to heat up in the second half with 29 points, but the end, Oregon ran out of gas. Oklahoma wins the Valero Alamo Bowl 47-32. Heck of a game for interim coach Bob Stoops. This is career win 191 with Oklahoma.
What a fun game there at 6:25 and 57 degrees.
Glad you're with us. Coming up next half hour, GMSA more coverage on a violent tiger attack at a zoo in Naples, Florida. We'll have details.
And Jonathan Gotha will join us live with the very latest on a shooting in the downtown area that left one person dead.
The search and investigation continues following a shooting that's left one man dead. What we know so far, coming up next.
Outside with live cam, mild start to the day. No big surprise there. Big cold front still on track for the weekend. Mike Osterhage is back and he'll have an updated timeline as we head into the New Year's weekend.
Good morning. It's Thursday, December 30th.
Glad you are with us, and folks heading out from the OU and Oregon game, Valero Alamo Bowl last night. We hope you have a safe travel headed home.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed San Antonio.
That's right. Let's check in with Mike, who is back from Christmas break now. What did you bring us from Tennessee, Mike?
Was it colder up there, or is it similar, kind of mild?
It was pretty much the same weather.
Wow.
Yeah, it was shirt sleeve weather around there, but that's all going to be changing around here by late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. It'll definitely be much colder, but it was interesting. Had to drive and run a couple of errands yesterday, driving through downtown, and saw all the OU and Oregon fans walking around in T-shirts, shorts, flip-flops. So, yeah, exactly. So, all right, visibility. That's one thing that, the past couple of mornings we've had to deal with is a lot of fog. There is still some fog in places, not everywhere, obviously. We're at 57 right now. The dew point's at 51. So we've got still comfortable as far as the humidity is concerned. We had that dry air come in here yesterday afternoon. That knocked the humidity out, but that's going to be changing by later on today. It's going to be much more humid out there. Pleasanton, 2 miles visibility. Still pretty good around the metropolitan area. It's dropped a little bit around Castroville and a lot more fog off to the east. That's where it's pretty much been sitting all morning long. And of course, dense fog advisory off to the east up until 10 o'clock. And it's going to be very stubborn out there. We've had a couple little sprinkles that have shown up on radar. Most of this has been evaporating before it reaches the ground. If you get a sprinkle, don't be surprised. Mountain Cedar is on the sky high side, just about 15,000. Mold is moderate. Updated count comes out in about a half an hour, 45 minutes or so. And throughout the rest of today, we are going to see temperatures that are going to make it up into the low 80s. Very warm, very humid. Humidity is definitely going to come back into the picture. 83 is the record. It's going to be close. I don't think we hit it today, though. Morning fog, mist tomorrow. Very warm, very humid again. And then a very humid start on New Year's. Then the dry air comes on in here. We're still going to be on the hot side, up in the low 80s on Saturday. Front moves through after that. and it's going to be much, much colder. We're going to make it down to the mid-30s. Sunday morning, stay only in the low 50s, and then it looks like our first freeze, good chance of that that's here in town by Monday morning. It's going to be really cold. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, Stephen Cavazos. A lot of folks still on vacation. Pretty fun on the roads, right?
A little jealous of them, Mike, but I'm happy that we can be here together and talk about traffic because there's really not a whole lot to talk about when we take a look at our roadways. Take a look right now. We have I-10 at Callahan. The morning's getting going for some of these folks. This is, honestly, if morning rush could look like this every day, I wouldn't complain about it. I don't think anybody would. But if you are still at home and have to head out the door, you don't need to rush out the door. You can take it a little bit easy. You're not going to find any delays right now, perhaps on your way to work or maybe even on your way out of town. So let's take a look at the map, though. Just be on the lookout. If you have your travels take you through I-10 westbound at Preston Street, we have a stall that's been there for quite a while, according to the TxDOT website. But according to this map, we're not seeing any delays in those westbound lanes. So that's some good news there if you're traveling through there. But we're hoping that driver can get some help soon and be on their way. But taking a look at our map, a wider look shows it's been like this the last few days as we've talked about traffic. And again, I said it earlier, it's almost like a copy and paste situation. But if you are traveling to San Antonio, the good news is we're seeing the same situation there, green across the board from all of our neighboring communities to the downtown San Antonio area. So some good news there. One last look at TransGuide. The morning's getting moving. Just take it easy and enjoy the ride. Guys.
Thank you, Stephen. Our top story this morning, San Antonio police trying to piece together a deadly shooting overnight.
It happened in an area that usually sees a lot of tourist traffic. Jonathan Cotto joins us now with more. Jonathan, do police know anything about the gunman?
Good morning, Mark. And unfortunately, no, they don't even know if there was any relation between the victim and the shooter, but we do know the suspect took off towards the Riverwalk. Let's take a look at what that scene looked like, and it was certainly a busy scene and a busy morning for San Antonio police, who responded to the scene near Market Street in South Alamo. Now, this is in downtown near I-37, just a couple of blocks away from the Alamo. Now, we've learned an elderly man was shot in the upper body. Police say he was found dead on arrival. And again, it's still unclear what led up to the shooting, but we know the gunman quickly left the scene. Police say he jumped down towards the Riverwalk. Now, we know this is an area high in tourist traffic. As you mentioned, no other injuries were reported. Police have been collecting evidence and combing through the area in search of that suspect. EMS and San Antonio Fire Department were also on scene. Now, the search and investigation is ongoing for the latest on this shooting. Make sure to follow our latest newscast for any updates made available. Reporting live from Public Safety Headquarters, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Jonathan. Also new this morning, cleanup is underway following a fire at a Northwest Side restaurant. Firefighters say it happened around 11 p.m. on Warsbach Road off of near I-10 at the Jerusalem Grill. Crews say flames were shooting through the roof and smoke was coming from the back of the building. Investigators say it started in an AC unit and then spread to the attic. No one was hurt in the fire.
3-year-old Lena Kill has now been missing from San Antonio for 11 days, and authorities still have no leads as to where she might be. This case hitting all of the Alamo City hard, and local organizations and businesses are stepping up to do what they can. Local advertising company Creative Mango is using its resources to make and donate 100 missing person banners free of charge to anyone who's willing to display them at their place of business or home in the hopes someone with information will come forward. Our crew spoke with one restaurant owner who's had the banner up since Monday.
One of my customers came and he said, I got this for the little girl. I'm like, don't even think about it. Don't even ask me. Just put it on. I mean, whatever we can do. Babies I don't know, babies is everything.
Now, these new banners say Lena was abducted, but SAPD investigators are still treating this as a missing persons case because they have no evidence Lena was taken. She was last seen Monday, December 20th.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has authorized 2 new over-the-counter at-home COVID-19 tests.
Now, that is part of the Biden administration's commitment to increase access to COVID-19 testing. The tests are first to gain FDA authorization through the program. Last week, President Biden announced new actions to ensure Americans have access to free testing, including convenient at-home tests.
President Biden committed to buy 500 million at-home tests, which will be provided to Americans for free starting in January.
Here at home, local pediatrician is trying to put fears at ease amidst a rise in child COVID cases.
Nationally, there's been a 50% increase in COVID-19 cases in kids, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Association. Dr. John Fitch, a pediatrician at Heritage Pediatrics, is seeing an increase at his own office. Dr. Fitch says despite the greater magnitude of cases, none have been severe enough to lead to hospitalizations.
The thing that parents can be reassured is kids are still doing well with this new strain. We're assuming that most of what we're seeing is the Omicron strain.
And Dr. Fitch says he is seeing a familiar symptom with new cases, gastrointestinal issues. He says if you or your child are having any stomach problems, consider getting tested as soon as possible.
And if you still need to get vaccinated or boosted, you can do that later today. The Alamo Dome will be open back up for its drive-through vaccine clinic. That's happening from noon to 8 p.m. It will then close on Friday for New Year's Eve. You can also check out your local pharmacy for the COVID-19 vaccine.
Last night's Spurs game with the Heat was postponed due to injuries and COVID concerns on the Miami side. The Heat did not have the league minimum 8 players to suit up against San Antonio. This becomes the 10th NBA game postponed this season. Spurs say tickets and parking passes for last night's game will be valid for the rescheduled game, which will be announced at a later date. So next up, our Spurs will begin a 7-game road trip starting in Memphis against the Grizzlies. Tip-off of that game set for tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
In your morning consumer news, investors are pointing to reasons for optimism in 2022, many expecting the economy to continue its recovery amid easing fears about the Omicron coronavirus variant's effect on commerce. This as 2 market indexes set new records Wednesday, the S&P 500 gaining 0.1% for its 70th record close of the year. The Dow Jones Industrials edging up 0.2% for its 6th straight gain. The trading session marked by light holiday volumes.
Extended holiday return policies may wind up hurting major U.S. retailers. Many began Christmas promotions as early as September in the face of the pandemic with low inventories due to supply chain problems. And shoppers may be bringing back a record $112 billion in returns, which can hurt company bottom lines. Companies like Apple, Nordstrom, Nike, and Walmart are among retailers lengthening their return windows this year, some by as many as 3 months' time.
A construction worker is dead this morning after a trench collapsed in Missouri. It happened yesterday at a new home site in the Kansas City area. Crews there say it took a while to recover the man's body due to concerns of another collapse. That man's name has not been released at this time. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration is investigating the scene to determine if the trench had proper protective systems in place.
A zoo in Naples, Florida is closed today after a tiger attacked a worker.
Deputies shot and killed the animal after the man went into an unauthorized area. Now the case is being compared to the shooting of Harambe.
Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
This morning, an investigation is underway in southwest Florida where a tiger attacked a maintenance worker at a zoo.
I do believe that the tiger is still inside the tiger cage.
Officers responding Wednesday night to the zoo in Naples, where they say a member of a cleaning service contracted by the zoo climbed a fence and into an unauthorized area. Authorities say the worker then put his arm into the enclosure to either pet or feed the animal when the tiger latched on. When a deputy arrived, the man still had his arm in the tiger's mouth, forcing the deputy to shoot the animal. The zoo confirming overnight the tiger, named Echo, has died.
Echo is really cool. Tigers are in general are really cool.
The 8-year-old male Malayan tiger was a star attraction at the zoo, with less than 200 members of his species left in the wild. The zoo posting this video about Echo last year.
They're actually critically endangered. We want to make sure that the news gets out and people learn about these animals because we want to protect them and keep them around.
The incident is already drawing comparison to the 2016 incident when a gorilla named Harambe was shot dead after he grabbed and dragged a 3-year-old who had climbed into his enclosure. One user on Twitter writing, "One would have thought we'd have learned from the loss of Harambe. Now he is joined by Echo, the Malaysian tiger, because another human decided to do something abundantly stupid. According to the sheriff's office, the worker was authorized to clean restrooms and the gift shop, but not the animal enclosures. He was airlifted to a hospital with serious injuries. Andrew Dimber, ABC News, New York.
Time check on your Thursday morning, 6:41, about 57 degrees.
Just ahead, how to teach your kids about getting in on the investing game and to become financially savvy. More than $5 trillion with a T is sold, bought, and traded in the stock market each and every day, and more people in their 20s are getting in on the game.
In fact, some parents are now teaching their preteens and teens the ins and outs of the Dow Jones and NASDAQ. As Erica Hernandez reports, Good Money Management's first step, then comes the tricks of the trade.
Kids learn reading, writing, arithmetic, and now the ups and downs of investing.
I think they should start as soon as they can.
I'm 39. I don't even know when I should start.
We are actually doing that with our kids right now. My daughter bought stock in the toys that she likes, so she said that was her best investment. So.
The first steps start with an allowance. The app's Busy Kid allows parents to match chores with your child's age and suggests the allowance amount and the frequency. So what's the rate for cleaning the toilets? $2.50. Folding laundry is worth $4. Pulling weeds, $2. Next, have your kids deal with debit and credit cards. Greenlight is an app where parents can pay their children through their bank accounts. Kids can have their own debit cards, get cash back, and even invest their money. The key here, every trade needs a parent's approval. And when they do make money, have them use it for something important. Roth RIAs can be set up for kids of any age with an initial investment of $500 and just an additional $500 investment every year. In 50 years at 5%, they could have $120,000. To spark interest, try setting up a siblings or cousins investment club, or your child can start one at school. There they can share ideas and vote on the best moves to make. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Well, the confetti is ready to fly on New Year's Eve in New York City.
The official confetti test was held yesterday at the Hard Rock Cafe Marquee, and come midnight Saturday, 1.5 tons of the paper will be dropped on masked revelers in Times Square.
Workers have also prepared that Waterford crystal ball. This year's theme, the gift of wisdom.
I don't even know what I keep thinking we're still in 2020. And the fact that it's 2022, I completely missed 2021 in there.
Understood. Yes, the end of this year is feeling very much like last year in many, many ways. Let's check on traffic. 6:46 on our Thursday, December 30th. What's the latest, Stephen?
Hey, you're not going to see any confetti on my New Year's Eve celebration because it is just a mess to clean up. So shout out to anyone that has to clean that up. Yeah, if you have to head out the door, don't expect any big trouble right now because it's still pretty quiet. 1604 at Babcock, US 90 at 36, 35 at Martin. Just a few folks out there this morning. That's what we've been seeing throughout the last few days. Not too bad. But 410 at McCullough, looks like we have some crews out there. Be on the lookout. This stall off I-10 westbound at Preston Street had been there for quite a while, but that has since cleared out. But that doesn't mean the problems have gone completely because we have a new stall off 410 westbound at Harry Wurzbach Road, not causing problems, but those stalls seem to be the trending issue at this hour. So a wider look at the map does show that it's still very quiet out there as we're getting this new day started. Just remember to take it easy and enjoy the ride as we drive off into the new year. Guys?
I saw a meme the other day and it was about how 2022, depending on where you put the comma, could be 2022.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking as I was saying that earlier.
Hey, the other day, my mom celebrated her 95th birthday.
Wow.
Yes, indeed.
Happy birthday, Mom.
My dad's 94, and yes, I did send her flowers and called her. So happy birthday, Mom.
What's your mom's first name?
Ruth Anna.
Ruth. Happy
Miss
birthday,
Ruth, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, we've got some clouds hanging around here, and that's actually helped out as far as the fog in town because it acts like a little bit of a blanket and kept temperatures from dropping down even further. But as you can see, a couple of holes here and there, and a neat-looking sunrise. 5 miles visibility at Randolph. Port SA is doing pretty good. Same thing, Pleasanton. It's actually come up a little bit, and Castroville has improved, but we're seeing hints of it now around Randolph and New Braunfels, and then obviously more fog further off off to the east, a very, very thick batch of fog off there to the east, and that dense fog advisory is still in effect. But as we're now starting, sun's just now coming up, and we're starting to see some of that fog developing around Randolph, New Braunfels, so just keep an eye out for the next couple of hours. Now, as far as the humidity, dew points, they dropped down yesterday afternoon, then they're going to be coming up later on this afternoon, so it's going to be warm and humid. Same thing tomorrow, very sultry, New Year's Eve celebrations, and then during the day, we'll start off very warm, humid Saturday. During the day, the humidity is going to be dropping off. Then it's kind of a 1-2 punch. Then the front moves on through here Saturday night into Sunday morning, and that's going to pull in some really, really cold air. We're looking at the coldest air of the season here in town. Right now, those are negative numbers. That's just the air temperatures. It's even teens as far south as Wichita. So we will be getting a nice little chunk of that coming on in here. Look at some of the wind chill readings. 7 below in Cutbank as of right now, and it feels like 10 at Wichita. So we've got this southwesterly flow aloft in the atmosphere. That's been the situation every time we've had a shot of cold air coming on in here, because it's been a very shallow layer of cold air. This is going to be a little thicker layer. So what happens is that low will eventually just kind of move across the area, not really doing anything. We get the dry air coming in here first of all, and then these upper level wind lines coming straight down out of Canada. That's a nice big thick layer of cold air that's going to move on in here during the day or overnight Saturday into Sunday during the day, and then we get the really, really cold stuff coming in here Monday morning. And that's when we're going to be down to freezing, and it's going to be the first freeze of the season around here. And then going into next week, fairly mild temperatures, but what's going to be promising is the fact that the high is going to want to move off there to the west of us, and that's what you like to see, is this kind of northwesterly flow around here. So that will at least somewhat keep the humidity at bay and keep us a little bit closer to normal readings. 75 degrees today at noon, anything but normal today, and we'll make it up to 80. Very humid today, partly cloudy skies. The record is 83. I don't think we hit it today. We did hit it, of course, yesterday at 85 degrees. Tomorrow start off 60 with fog, mist, you know the call, and then it's going to be very sultry tomorrow throughout the day, tomorrow night, Saturday morning, drier air, windy, and then much, much colder. Going to be interesting to see what Mountain Cedar does Sunday's reading.
Oh, it's probably not going to be good.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, have the Zyrtec on standby.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike.
6:51, about 57 degrees.
'Tis the season to feel bad. For many, the winter season actually brings feelings of sadness. Tomorrow on GMSA, how to avoid the winter blues and stay jolly.
Outside with live cam. We're going to wrap up GMSA after this. Beginnings of a really nice sunrise for your Thursday morning. We'll be right back. You're watching GMSA.
Good morning. Coming up on GMA, Galen Maxwell found guilty of 5 counts of sex trafficking. Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator could spend 65 years in prison. This morning, one of Maxwell's victims joins us live. That plus much more coming up on GMA. We'll see y'all right here.
We're going to check in on the roads one more time with Stephen Cavazos.
Not bad right now, Mark, Sarah. Yeah, I-10 at Hackberry, I-35 at Caesars. I was hearing our producer in our ear. Let's take a look right now. You can see it's still pretty quiet. This is what we're going to look like for morning rush, but keep on the lookout. This stall just cleared from 410 westbound at Harry Wurzbach Road, but a second stall popped up there off I-10 westbound at Florida Street, Mike.
Sir, we've got a few clouds out there. Nice looking sunrise. Some folks are seeing some fog. Randolph, a little bit of it. It's dropped slightly. Visibility has up there in New Braunfels. Be on the lookout for the next couple of hours. A lot of fog down there along the coastal plain. Dense fog advisory up until 10 o'clock. And it's going to be a warm, sultry day. We're at 58 right now. High temperature today up to 80. Warm and humid tomorrow as well, starting off Saturday morning. Then we get drier air coming in here. Then the cold air moves on in. It's going to be very, very cold Sunday as well as Monday. A freeze Monday morning.
Good to have you back, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
Mike.